Welcome back, Queen, to another episode of the Creators of Freedom. I'm so excited today. I'm Annie, I'm your host, and I have a very special guest that's jumping on with me today. This person that we are going to interview and have a beautiful conversation with is someone that's been in my world for a little while now, but has a truly incredible story with her entrepreneurial journey as a salon owner. And I know that her wisdom that she's got to share with you today is going to be really inspiring, no matter where you are in your journey right now. And I just really hope that this is something, this conversation that reminds you that you're not alone, reminds you to keep going, because the determination and the willingness that this beautiful salon owner has is incredible. So I know that you're going to learn a lot from her story and feel very inspired by it. So I would love to welcome on the beautiful Jaz, all the way from New Zealand. We're in opposite sides of the world right now. I'm in Greece, you're in New Zealand. Oh, Jaz, welcome, babe, to the Creatress of Freedom podcast.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Ah, of course. It's such an honor to have you and have you share your story today with the beautiful other women that are listening to this episode. So, Jaz, I'd love for you to just kind of go back a little bit in time and just share a little bit about your story of entrepreneur and what that's looked like. Can you walk us through that a little bit?
Well, yeah, I've been in the industry for about 18 years now. When I first studied, I always knew that I wasn't going to be working for somebody else forever. I thought I was actually going to become a trainer maybe like 2 years after graduating, but you come out and life hits you with a big old stick. That was a journey in itself. And I thought maybe in about 5 years that I was ready to open my own salon. And I actually started training with yoga then and doing the beauty thing and sort of working from home a little bit like mobile in WA. And then we moved to Queensland and I decided to open my own salon over there. So moved to Queensland, didn't know anybody, just opened a salon from scratch, and that was a mission. So it was a lot.
To share with us a little bit about that transition, because I mean, moving, I know, yes, like there's still the same language speaking, like, and all of that stuff, but like still packing up your life. I know, packing up my life and moving from Australia to Greece, like there's a lot of things that need to like happen and occur for that to happen. Like, tell us a little bit about that transition for your own personal development of going from one country to another and knowing no one, but then throwing yourself into a business as well.
Yes, that was actually a lot harder than I'd expected it to be. I think I always have my little rose-colored glasses on and be like, it'll be fine. But so moving from Western Australia to Queensland, we opened up the little salon. My partner put in with me, or my partner at the time, and it was really cute, actually. I do miss the building. It was absolutely beautiful, but the struggle was real. Um, just trying to drum up enough clients and things that I was even able to pay my rent. So my partner was still supporting myself and the business at this time. And there was just so much stress outside of that, like with my relationship as well. And then 3 months into that process, we just opened and I found out that I was pregnant with my first child. So that was just a whole nother ball game. So I definitely tried to work my little butt off while I could all through my pregnancy, and then got to the end and panic hired someone to cover me for maternity leave, which she was very helpful, but it also just wasn't the right energy to have in the shop, and that didn't work out very well in the end. But yeah, just there was so many struggles just trying to get wages paid, make ends meet, and just cover the salon as well. A lot of growth in there though, a lot of learning. I really thought after 10 years at this time that I would have been able to make it and make it work. That's my rose-colored glasses again though. But, you know, we're always taught to be good therapists. And I think that's something that I always tell other business owners when they're thinking about it, that are in the industry. We're taught to be good therapists. We're not taught to be good business owners. And so, you know, you can work as hard as you like and spend as many hours in the shop as you like, but sometimes it's just not going to help. And you need to actually have someone to help push you through into the other side of becoming a business owner. That's what I found you.
Yeah. And I love working with you. We've been together for a while now. You've been through a couple of my different programs, which we'll get into in a sec. I'd love to hear your biggest takeaways from each of them because they're two very, very different programs. So yeah, it's been such an honor to support you and see the woman that you've become today. Like it's you've skyrocketed so much. Like anyway, we won't get too much into the where you are right now. I want to paint the picture for the audience. So okay, holy shit. All right. So you start a salon, 3 months into that, you find out you're pregnant. Like that throws a huge spanner in the works. Were you panicked by that stage? Were you thinking, because I know a lot of women when they start their family, like, you know, society says it's this or that, right? It's like, oh, you're going to have to get rid of the salon now because you're going to be a mum, and you can't possibly be like a great mum if you're going to be a business owner as well. So was there any of that was happening for you through that stage?
Yeah, so I was really stressing about it. But then also I grew up in a family where both my parents always had 2 or 3 jobs and I was always with carers. So I was just like, okay, well, you know, we can knuckle down, we can do this. It's just probably going to have to be the same as how I grew up, which is, it was fine, but I didn't know any different either. And I didn't really realize, looking back, that I was following the same footsteps as my parents of, you know, like just making everything really hard, and that I could actually make it different, but I didn't know how to at that time. The other thing that was really going on at that time was my partner was quite heavily into drugs and gambling and all that kind of stuff. So the money that I was making from the salon quite often ended up having to support us in the household, and that was quite stressful as well, because I just wasn't making enough to be able to cover all the bases, obviously. So he worked away in the mines most of the time, and then because we'd had the salon, he was actually able to apply for maternity leave. So he could take 6 months off and have full paid maternity leave because I was obviously going back to work at the shop. So that put an extra strain on the relationship as well, because I was doing, you know, like 10, 12-hour days just trying to cover all the bases. You know, I was doing so much advertising. I was not hitting the mark with any of the advertising. Like, I just did not know what I was up to. I invested in marketing mentorship and things like that, but the ones that I invested in, they were not helpful. It was a very masculine template that we were working off. Like, a guy had made them, which was fine. Like, it was all helpful stuff at the time, but it just wasn't doing anything for me in my business, and I felt like I'd wasted my money. And then, yeah, with my partner, I think it got to 9 months, you know, like I was working all day, every day. I had a newborn, so by the time I was getting home, I just had a newborn attached to me all night, so I felt like I was just working 24 hours a day. He was not helpful at home either. He was watching the baby, but he was also in his own issues, preoccupied with other things. So we got about 9 months down that track, and I decided I was moving back home to New Zealand with or without him, and closed up the shop. Finished off the last few of my clients and gift vouchers from my house, and he decided he was coming back with us, and yeah, I came home, and that was 2018. So
Wow. Wow, what a journey. What a journey. I know that you
lots of
talk about
stress.
yeah, I know you talk about the rose-colored glasses, and I'm sure that there's a lot of women that are listening to this episode. You know, naturally, I attract very high ambitious women because that's who I am, right? So, I'm sure that there's a lot of women here that are listening to that, going, "Oh yeah, maybe like I probably should have taken my rose-colored glasses off as well." But just a different spin on that, like I think that there's just this part of you that deep down, like, because I know you now, right? So I think that there's this. I don't think it's the rose-colored glasses. I think you just have this deep, deep desire, and you just have this deep knowing that you're meant for more, and
Mm.
you're just so willing to just go all in on yourself and just trust yourself, right? Like that takes a lot of fucking courage. You've been in my world for a while. We talk a lot about really what it all boils down to is having the courage, right? Like
Yeah.
it's the courage to show up on social media. It's the courage to put yourself out there. It's the courage to say, hey, I'm going to try new services. It's the courage to increase your prices. It's the courage to maybe shift slight directions in the services that you are doing and doing something that actually does fulfill your soul, right? Like
Hmm.
all of it is the courage. And so, like, yes, we can sit here and say that maybe it is you've got the rose colored glasses on, but I think that those glasses are just fucking full of courage, is really what I'm hearing.
Well,
Because you just have this like determination. I mean, there's not a lot of people that would pack up their life, their safe, secure life, and move to a different country and open a salon with no connections, right? With no
mm,
connections, with no client base. Like that takes fucking courage to like you fully backed yourself. Like you were prepared whether it was going to work or not work. You were prepared to take the risk. And I think that like that's the part that we as business owners don't celebrate enough and don't realize just that baby step of saying, yes, I'm going to trust myself. Yes, I'm going to do this. Having no idea what's on the other side of that, like that's a huge risk that you take. And I think that we should celebrate the courage that that does take for people to go out and start their business. So I'm calling bullshit on the rose colored glasses. I'm saying that you have full courage in yourself to like just completely trust yourself, and that's a really beautiful quality because look where it's got you now. Like, and we're going to
yeah.
shift into some of this story because without that story, you wouldn't be this woman right now. You wouldn't have all those trials and tribulations and experiences that you're now able to, and you're starting to see with everything that's unfolding right now, why that part of your story is so important.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. All right. So you packed up, you moved back to New Zealand. Give us a little bit of a rundown of what that story looked like then, because did you open a salon? Like, what did that look like?
So we moved back to New Zealand. Myself and my ex-partner at the time, or ex-partner, um, we were in the process of trying to make things work. Like we had a little one and all that kind of stuff. So we moved into a house together back home. Both of our families are here, so we had a lot of support. I opened up a little massage room, and I think I might have taken 5 clients at that time, but we were also going through a separation, and we just didn't know how we were going to make it work at that time. I think there was just so much emotional stuff going on, and yeah, it was just very, very messy trying to figure out if we were staying living together or not living together and like all those kinds of things. So I gave up on that idea after a little while, and I started working full time at a big factory here as a operator, um, making infant formula. So that was a whole journey in itself. I eventually moved out to mum's and dad's and took the little one with me as well. Um, and maybe within 6 months, I actually decided to start eyebrow tattooing, which was like my first dipping my toes into the tattooing journey, which is something I'd already been looking at for years. Um, Went up to Auckland, did my first lot of training, and came back home, and everything just exploded. My whole life, like everything, just um, the separation, everything was just going insane at this time. Family, like everyone was at each other. Like there was just all kinds of things going on. I could barely even function in my day job, so I couldn't even finish the training that I was doing. I was barely functioning as a mum. Um, it was quite intense time. Maybe about 6 months after that, I had a girlfriend reach out to me who was 6 months pregnant, and she was really struggling with her pregnancy, really uncomfortable and all that kind of stuff. And she'd asked me if I could come and massage her, and that's actually when I started doing mobile massage. So that's where Skin and Body sort of kicked off again. So we're probably talking end of 2018, early 2019. And then it just got too much carting all the things around, like wax pots or all the, like, my massage table was this big old heavy thing that my beautiful auntie actually got made for me specifically, but it is heavy. So we decided, mum and dad gave me their sleep out. I got it all done up, and I worked out of there for like 2 years. So it just kind of took off. I was doing a few nights a week, and then it ended up being every weekend, and I was working till like 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and then I was getting up to be at my day job for 8 o'clock, getting the little one ready for kindy and doing all those kinds of things, still going through the separation because it was just such a long, drawn-out process. And then we, I don't know, made it through the 20s to, oh God, when did I touch base with you? 22?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
20, yeah, 22. Yeah, 22.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think
The
I
Jan the
was,
January. The
yeah, I
January.
was sitting out on a boat, and I was just like, I'd been told I needed to sort my life out and choose a job because I was just working too much. And I was just like, oh God, I can't stay at the dairy company. At this stage, I was doing health and safety, and the pay was amazing. Like, I think I was earning $90,000 a year, which is more than I've ever earned for anything. I was unqualified for my job completely. And like, I was turning up to work, I was doing fuck all, and I was mostly focusing on doing my beauty stuff and advertising for my beauty stuff when I was at work. Like, it was terrible, but that helped. It got me to where I am. So
Mm-hmm.
I actually went out on the boat. I think it might have been even Christmas break, and you just popped up on my feed, and it was real random because I'd actually been looking at another coach that was Queensland based as well. But I'd looked at her multiple times over the years, and it just never felt quite right at that time. And I was just like, yeah, I'll get into it. It just never hit. You popped up on my feed. I messaged you straight away. There was something in your intro. I was like, you're the one. And I think you messaged me back that afternoon. And within the week, we had our first introductory call. And yeah, I did the 3 months Ignite Your Salon, and I think ended up fast tracking working for myself probably 18 months. Like, I'd planned, it might have been like 12 or 18 months down the track, and we'd already sort of worked it out that it was going to happen in the next year. So I definitely recommend
Yeah.
it.
That was a huge transition. I still remember that phone call that you were having and that we had, and I still remember thinking, how the fuck are you surviving? Like, the amount of hours that you were doing at your day job, and then you were like coming home, and then you were working in the salon, and you're trying to be a mom, and then you're trying to be a good partner with your new partner now, and I felt exhausted listening to you, but also felt myself in your story as well. And I think that there's a lot of salon owners that are like trying to make ends meet in every area possible, to the detriment of their own health, to the detriment of their own relationships, the sacrifices that you have to make. Like, can't imagine how hard that would have been on your new relationship, never really being home. And then when you are home, you're fucking exhausted as well, trying to be a mum. That's just a lot to juggle.
Yeah, I was definitely dropping a lot of balls, and everything was, I just felt like I was struggling in every aspect of my life. And I just felt like I was addicted to the chaos because that's all I'd known for so long. And I didn't know how to move past that. And I
Mm-hmm.
think my mental health at that stage was shot as well. I remember opening up to you on a few phone calls, and like, even a lot of things I didn't even want to speak about, but they just ended up coming out. And just even being able to speak them with you helped me move past that to, I don't know, be able to take the next steps, I think. And that was
Mm-hmm.
huge as well. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't just about the salon, it wasn't about just about the business. And I think, yeah, that was probably the most important thing that I needed at that time as well.
Mm,
Yeah.
I love that you touched on that, because I think there's a big misconception in the coaching world, right? That, your next level of success is in the strategy. It's in the, like, just implement this next lot of framework. And like, yes, they are important. I mean, you've been in my world for a while. And if you've been listening to my episodes, you will know that, like, that is a part of what I do. But the next layer of that is the energetics and the deeper work, because I can give you all the strategies, but if you do nothing with the strategies, then we've got to figure out why. And the reason that you're not doing anything with the strategies is usually because of the deeper work that does need to go on, and the trauma and the things that are, like, held deep in your body that's actually stopping you, the belief system, the limiting beliefs that's actually stopping you from being able to implement these things. So I love that you that you touched on that, because I think it's really interesting. A couple of the women, when they first come into Ignite, said the same thing. They're like, I feel like I've done this program, which was all very masculine based. It was very much the structures and the strategies and the frameworks, and it's the laying of the foundations is very much what Ignite is. And all of you come in and got to the end of it and were like, I haven't even been through the content yet, because there was so much that we actually needed to, like, work through and talk out before you even go. It's like, holy shit, like, I've just done, like, it started off when you came in, it was 3 months, and then I realized very quickly that 3 months is, like, not long enough, because we're only just starting to, like, get momentum. So then we extended it to 5 months with coaching, and that worked really well. But then we shifted it now, and it's just a self-paced program right now. So if you wanted to jump into it, you can definitely jump into it, but you now have 12 months access to that content. And yeah, it's crazy, the evolution in what's happened. But yeah, it's incredible when I look back. So I would love to hear a little bit about that transition, because I mean, I know your story, but there's women listening here that maybe they have a part-time job and they have their little side hustle on the side and want to go, jump full into it. Maybe they're wanting to quit their job altogether and start their business. What advice do you have for those women that are maybe in that situation? Because I mean, you can sit here right now and I see the confidence in you right now, like, yeah, like, I quit my job, but like, that was not what happened, in that transition period. So can you talk a little bit around, like, the fears that were coming up? What was coming up for you? Like, what was that transition period look like for you, and how did you navigate that?
Do you know, I feel like I can't even remember that time, but I just remember there was a lot of tears
Mm-hmm.
when, like,
Yes.
I was at home by myself, just been like, oh my God, I don't even know if I can do this. Like, I haven't been able to make this work before. A lot of my old stuff came up. A lot of my old stuff around my relationships came up. And some days I just felt like I'd been hit with a big old bat with, the things that it was just quite confronting as well. But yeah, I think a lot of the fear that was really coming up, that, my anxiety would just be through the roof. I'd be waking up 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning being like, what the fuck am I doing? Why do I think I can do this? I couldn't make it work last time. And then the fact that I'm now in my hometown and I feel like there's so many more eyes on me and all that kind of stuff. So there's, like, all the anxieties around that as well. Like, what if I fail? You know, I don't have the same relationship that I have had with my ex and financial with my current partner. I keep everything very, very separate just because of how everything went the first time. So he is not someone that I would call on to help me financially. And I was like, what do I do? Like, how the fuck am I going to support myself? I've got a child now. And yeah, I put off handing my notice in for a really, really long time. And then I just started looking for a building and things just sort of started falling into place. So I actually ended up renting my building for 6 months before I was able to move into it, but it gave us 6 months to slowly do it up. And yeah, just taking the little steps I remember sending you through my business plan, and we went through all of that, and the support. I don't know. I wouldn't have been able to get through it without your support, because I know that we weren't currently in mentorship at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was still reaching out to you quite a bit, and I knew that we hadn't really finished as well. Like, I knew that we were going to be moving into something else. I just didn't know what that looked like then either. And then I think you started talking to me about Evolve, and I was just like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
actually, we're going to jump into that. And I still hadn't even finished my Ignite stuff. I still haven't finished it, but
Love your
we can do it
honesty.
slowly.
Love your honesty. Love that.
But yeah, it was just quite a confronting time, because I think it just brought up so many fears about
Mm-hmm.
maybe me failing, and
Yeah.
then, my big dream and the visions that I wanted, to have for my life, and not have to be in the same place as my parents, like, was still very much at the forefront. And I was just like, oh, maybe, I don't want to not be meant for more. And, that would be quite a hard pill to swallow if that was the case.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. I remember, I'm surprised you didn't mention this, but I remember because money was one of the biggest issues, right? Like you just shared, you were making 90K. Like that's a lot of security right there, right? To walk away from 90K to hope that your business is going to financially support you, like that's a huge step. And I remember you sending me through your numbers and going through your numbers, and we did some like forward predictions, and I was like, okay, so like if you worked with, I can't even remember exactly how many it was, but I think we worked out a plan of like maybe reducing a day in the with your job, and we worked out what that was going to look like. And I said to you, if you were going to do this day for how many ever hours, like let's say it was I don't know, I think it was like an 8 hour day. We were replacing your day job. So 8 hour day, based on all of your stats and your numbers that we had, I think we worked it out that you could, without working crazy hours, I don't remember the exact amount, but it blew your mind. I remember it blew your mind and gave you this confidence to be like, holy shit. So, like, if I only worked, one full day, your a couple of half a days that you're doing, and maybe a Saturday, I think you were going to bring in like 4 grand or something like that, 4,000 a week. And you were like, oh, like it actually could be that easy. Like, I think when we're in business, we think that we have to make all of this work all these crazy hours in order to replace our income. But it's when we break it down and we know the stats, and we had your stats, right? We had how much your average client spend was, how many clients you were actually doing. So we had that data to be able to future predict and be like, okay, well, if you did this, and I think that was also before we did a price increase and all of that stuff as well. So from there, it was like, it really painted the picture to show you what was possible. And I do believe that correct me if I'm wrong here, but I do believe that conversation that we had was a big part in you actually trusting yourself to that next stage. And I also remember having a conversation with you too of like, I know that all your fears are coming up from your past salon, but the version that you are right now is so different to the version that you were right then. And the version that you are right now is also in mentorship, right? So you
Yeah.
are gonna be supported, you're gonna make it through this. Whereas the last time you were trying to do it all on your own, you were doing the best that you could at that time. So yes, that was part of your story, but it actually doesn't need to be part of your story moving forward for who you are right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was I do remember, I think whatever we worked out that I could make a week was basically just under what I was making a month there anyway. So
And working way less hours as
yeah.
well. Like, you were going into work, like you were going into work before your workday started and staying past your workday ending. So yeah, it was pretty hectic. So fast forward to this version that you are right now. You've quit your job. How long have you been full time in your salon now?
So I've been working full time since October, and we are in just about to head into June now. So it's been a while.
Yeah.
Still fresh
How's
though,
it been?
obviously.
Yeah, of
There's
course.
been it's been a wild ride. There's been some good highs and some good lows.
Uh-huh.
Finances can still be an issue for me sometimes, but
Mm-hmm.
um, I think it's still just that thing of learning to trust myself, and that, if you just face it head on, it's actually okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's okay. It happens. It comes. It goes. And um, yeah, I don't know. I just don't think I would have got this far now without your help. Um, I've gone and done a whole heap of training that I've wanted to do for like the last 10 years, and about to go and do a whole heap more. So um, just really kicking off my tattooing career with the beauty and the massage and all of that. Looking to hire my first staff member for spring. Um, yeah, we've fit out a whole huge big salon, and things are steady and stable. And
Mm-hmm.
my books are so much fuller than the first time I ever thought about going into doing my own business. And we're about to hit our third birthday for Skin and Body next month. So,
Mm. I love that. I love that. All right. So if you can share with us your biggest takeaway, because you've been through Ignite, you're now currently sitting in Evolve. So through Ignite, what do you feel like your biggest lessons and your biggest takeaways were throughout that space when we were together?
um, with Ignite, I think it was actually just growing my confidence um, into stepping into being a business owner. So I think it made me become quite aware of the things that I was also unconfident in as myself as a therapist, around like retailing, rebooking, and even just like some like basic business structures that I didn't even understand as well. And so with Ignite, I felt like that really helped me get a really strong foothold um, in that area of the business. Moving into Evolve, it's just on a whole nother level. Like, there's just so much support, especially with the girls in the group, like um all the amazing guest speakers. There's just, I don't know, it's just been amazing. And the
Mm-hmm.
consistent support as well. And I think, it is really, I find maybe Ignite was about, the structures and, dipping your toes in, stepping into that business role. But this is really about like growing your salon and, being able to make your dreams come true, stepping into, um, what are we stepping into? I don't know. I've lost it. um, yes, I just find Evolve is just completely different from Ignite. And I feel like Evolve has really helped me to be able to channel, I guess, my energy and my business into the direction that I want to go, instead of like it sort of controlling me, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's actually been really beautiful to watch your transitions and to watch your growth. And Evolve is, I share all the time, Evolve is really like the new paradigm of salon owners, right? It's like we really scrap what society tells you have to be and have to do within your business, and it's really learning and unlocking the potential, right? The potential of what you really do have, and allowing yourself to step into that, right? Because
Yeah.
we have these big dreams, we have this big vision, and like I love your vision and your mission statement. And I want you to share a little bit about your bigger vision here, because I think that that's really, really powerful. Um, and I think it's really about learning how to trust that, and to be okay with knowing that, you know what, no one probably does do business the way that I do business. And the different things you want to bring into your business model. um, that takes courage, right? Like we were talking about at the start, like it takes courage to be different. It takes courage to be like, nobody's doing this. Should I do it? And it's like, that's why you should do it, because, like a mentor always shared with me, and I always share with you guys, if the vision's in you, it's for you, right? So we just have to make it come to life. You wouldn't have that vision if it was not meant, if it wasn't, you were not meant to birth that vision into the world. So I love that you touched on that, that Ignite is very much like the foundations, which you're 100% right. It is those laying of those solid foundations, and so many business owners don't do that. Like we in our schooling, whether you're hair or beauty, there's no education around being a business owner,
Mm.
right? So and I think we go from this, we see what we make our boss, and then we're like, fuck that. Like, am I making my boss 4 grand this week and I'm getting paid $700? This is screwed. I'm going to go out, work on my own. But then it's not until you start running your business that you're like, where's the 4 grand? Like, I thought I was making my boss 4 grand. And you realize really quickly that shit, there's actually a little bit more to it than just working on clients. So 100% yes, Ignite is very much like that foundational stuff, and then evolve is this like it's written in the name, right? It's this
Mhm.
evolution, it's this evolving yourself of like, who do you want to be, how do you want to be, how do you want this business to be, like really what is your bigger vision here. And I think that for all of the women that have come through Evolve, there has been new evolution that has like risen to the surface. And even in the last few months for you, like there's been some huge revelations that have come through. When we look back on your journey, you talked about, you started your tattooing and then you had to put that on pause because of life and shit that happened. Now you're back into tattooing and you're shifting. Tell us a little bit about this, like this tattooing part that you are stepping into, because I feel like this is evolving so beautifully, and your deeper mission with the whole tattooing side. Can you share a little bit around that?
Yeah, for sure. So originally it just started out with like I wanted to learn how to do microblading for eyebrows, which was what I'd started all those years ago. Then this time around, I decided to go and do like the whole lot of learning how to do eyebrows, and then I was able to also jump in and get eyeliner and lips done and things like that. Um, as a teenager, I always wanted to be like a tattooist and a piercer and like do something like that. And I just never thought that, like I was never artistic. I couldn't possibly like go down that route. And now I guess it's just becoming such a mainstream thing with beauty, that a lot of people are kind of dipping their toes in it. So that's been a really cool time as well. Like it's just a really nice time to be able to be starting to step into those things. Um, and now, we're slowly moving into other cosmetic tattooing as well. So getting into scalp micropigmentation for the guys and also for the ladies with alopecia and all that kind of stuff. Mostly what I would like to get into doing is the nipple, like the 3D nipple reconstruction for breast cancer patients. But
Mm-hmm.
after we did a meditation, and I think we were looking at where our businesses could be or something like that. I was in the meditation and I could see my business. Like I was in here, I had 2 therapists, there were clients coming and going. I was standing in the corner of this room and I thought I was trying to brush like blonde dreads out, but it ended up being that I was taking off like my Indian headdress, and it was like my shaman's headdress. And it just came to me that I probably wasn't going to be working in the salon as such as a therapist anymore, and that I would be doing like tattooing under a ritual or something for my ladies that want to go through healing. Um, so I think what that's going to look like would be like a 2 or 3 day session where we come in and we're doing like a whole range of things. What it looks like at the moment, I'm not sure. I think it's still a couple of years
Mm-hmm.
down the track.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so in the next few months, I'll also be starting to learn how to do body tattooing and drawing so that, we can start looking at doing beautiful scar cover ups and all that kind of stuff. So there's going to be something big around it, but what yet? I'm not sure. But it's going to be
Yeah, I
amazing.
love that. I love that. And when your why is big like that, Like that gives you a reason every day, right? That gives you a reason every day to get up, and that gives you that reason to keep going even when, times are really fucking hard. And I know like last month you were in the depths of the trenches last month,
Oh,
and you were ready to burn it all down and walk away. And do you want to share a little bit around
yeah.
what unfolded for you last month in April?
So, with my ex, there's a house in Australia that ended up with my name on it when we got engaged, and I didn't realize I was up for a double mortgage. So we sold the house and moved home that we lived in Queensland, but didn't realize that I was still liable for the one in Perth. And he has just turned his back on everything. So I've been chasing him for 5 years, but the only contact details I've got are mine. So that's a good time. I got a few letters from some lawyers saying that they're chasing me for like a ridiculous sum of money, that I was just like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? So I'm still working that side of things out, but it's
Mm-hmm.
okay. But I was having a panic attack about that, and then I just had a whole lot of bills coming through. Also, the people that I um, have got in business with me have decided to like go through my finances, and they're trying to like cut things and just make it all nice and tidy as as you want to with a new business, and save as
Mm-hmm.
much money as you can. And so they're trying to get me out of mentorship as well, because I just like, oh, that's a lot of money there that you could be putting into the
Mm-hmm.
business. And I was already stressing about everything else. I was just like, oh my God, messaging Annie, just being like, I don't think I can do this anymore. I've got this going on. I've got that going on. And, I felt like I was about to have a mental breakdown. But
Uh-huh.
I think you were just like, nope, nope. She's like, I'm not letting you go, because it's just going to say that I can't help you.
Yeah.
And that kind of made me just take a step back and think about it. And, so I just started taking the small steps, putting all the phone calls out, doing all the little things that I could do. And it's okay. Life's okay. Everything's okay. I'm not
Yeah.
burning my life down right now. So, and, that month was a really hard month. My outlook on life, I think, was quite negative. Um, but this month I just feel like a completely different person, and my whole outlook on it is on a much more positive note. So I just feel like, I think you even said to us the other day, sometimes when you face these things, like you just get little gifts as well from the universe. And, I had someone message me and just be like, you know what, we're going to put your payments and things on hold this month. We'll restart it from next month. It's not even an issue. It's not going to go to the debt collectors. Thank you for reaching out to us, and all this kind of stuff. And just,
Mm-hmm.
there's been like so many little like positive things that have come through from that. That, yeah, like I think I said earlier on as well, just facing your finances and things head on, it's not that bad. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if I look at the sum of what everything is and what was happening, I was just like, holy fuck, like I can't do this. But,
Mm-hmm.
just taking the little steps is definitely, it's okay.
Yeah. And we also, so part of Evolve, we also do a lot of astrology as well. And so we talk about whose month it is, and it was your month last month because what's your star sign?
Aries.
Aries. So Aries last month was all about like you're going to be challenged with your money, right? And I remember saying to you this is your month, like you are actually supposed to be being dealt this hand right now, because as an Aries, like your challenges right now according to astrology and according to your birth chart is all about how are you going to handle this? Are you going to revert back to an old version of you of freaking out and being like, oh my God, like we're back in this situation again, like, oh, I can't deal with this is too much? Or are we actually going to go, okay, here we are right now, you know what, yeah, I have asked for my next level. And share this all the time, you can't ask for your next level and not expect there to be obstacles, right? That's just how it happens. You can't, the universe is not going to bring it all to you on a silver plate. It's going to make sure you're really sure you want that. So obstacles become very apparent when we ask for our next level. And so I remember saying to you, like, remember at the start of the month, I told you this month is going to challenge you. Like and your challenges are going to be all about money. So you can look at these situations that you're being dealt right now as, holy shit, I can't deal with this. Or you can look at this as, this too shall pass, right? And you're being challenged right now to say, how are you going to show up? What beliefs are you going to believe? Are you going to fall back into the old traps of like, see, I knew this was too good to be true. I knew that I couldn't make it work. Or are you going to step into this higher self version of you that's like, all right, these are some challenges, some obstacles, which means I'm getting closer because the universe is testing me right now. So let's take a deep breath. Let's lean on the support that I've got. Let's stick true to myself and trust myself that I can come out the other side of this. And literally, I think like the 1st of May rolled around and you were like, yeah, I remember you like jumping into the chat and being like, oh, girls, I'm back. I'm back. Like, and so much has actually unfolded for you over this last month, has it not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want to share a little bit about like what's actually unfolded over this last month?
So this last month, I've been able to get myself into the extra lot of training that I wanted. So all up, I think there's like another $11,000 worth of training outside of travel and accommodation and all that kind of stuff that I've just, gone and signed myself up for. I'm not sure how I'm going to pay for half of it. My parents actually have given me a little business loan for part of it. And another one, I'm just still figuring out, but I know it's going to be okay. Like, it's going to come. Yeah, decided that definitely taking on a new therapist soon. So just trying to work out the logistics and the background of advertising and making sure, that we actually get the right person and that I'm not hiring out of panic again and going back down that road. I've got my gateway student, so she's doing work experience through the high school. She comes in on a Tuesday. She's actually going to start doing a few afternoons after school every week, so that's another little employee. And yeah, I don't know, I just feel like everything's kind of ticking over. The things that I was waiting for, like to finish doing some renovations, have all arrived. I've got a brand new window put in. I've had all the things. It felt like everything in April was just stagnant or that I was going backwards. And now May's kind of happened and it just feels like I've exploded forward and things are just moving. And I haven't had to push it. I haven't had to try and control it. Like, it's just happened and I'm just along for the ride. And it's like, okay, well, let's get on. That's been really cool.
Yeah. It's like this is what alignment looks like. As soon as you start to step into alignment and you trust the flow of life, like everything kind of just like, I know you were saying before, you're like, I don't know how I'm going to make it happen. And like, that's what we talk about in my world. I'm like, we don't need to figure out the how, right? The how it just happens when you are in the flow. As long as you're trusting the pings that you get along the way, it's as soon as you put that next foot forward, the next stepping stone shows, right? But the stepping stone doesn't show until you put that next foot forward. So it's this beautiful like trust and surrender along the path.
So I just actually had something happen today, which is part of that. I had an overdue bill, and I've had enough in my account to either pay my rent or pay the bill. And I was just like, oh God, we're getting quite close to the end of the month, and I was just like, fuck it. Do you know what? I'm just going to pay the bill. I was like, it's going to be okay. And then I've actually been asked to do some training for young people to get themselves ready for work and looking after their skin and about self-care and doing their makeup and things like that. And I sent them through a quote for either 6 people or 10 people, and they were just like, yeah, get the invoice ready for tomorrow. We're going to take the 10 people and it's going to be 4,500 plus GST, and we'll just pay that. And then if we've got enough left over in the kitty, we will pay you for one for next year as well. And that just came in half an hour after I paid the bill. That I was just like, what?
Oh my gosh. Fuck yes.
Because I was sitting
Fuck
there
yes,
and I was
more
like, oh fuck, I've done
please.
this the wrong way around. I was just like, oh no, I should have just left that bill. And then it just like pinged, my email went off and I looked at it and I was just like, oh.
Yes, yes. And I didn't know that story, so that's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
holy fuck yes, more please. Yes. Like that comes down to the lack and scarcity, right? Like we talk a lot about that. It's like, whatever you believe is what you get met back with, but you trusted. You're like, you know what? Like I trust that, if I pay this bill, everything's going to come back, right? Whatever you're willing to put out there is what you're willing to get back. So I love that. Like that's incredible. And like I love how quickly you just brushed past this like incredible opportunity that you've been given with the training, because earlier on you shared that there was a part of you that thought you would do some kind of like training or some kind of like being a teacher or something like that you felt like that was part of your vision and part of your mission. And like, do you want to share a little bit about like what just recently happened? You literally brushed past that so fast.
So I always thought that maybe this could turn into like a little bit of a beauty school or something like that, but it wasn't really the main thing that I was concerned about with my business, like really wanting to get into the tattooing side of things, and really just getting the business up and functioning has been my main priority. But last year we had a event where a whole bunch of businesses went together, and we had all the students come through from all the high schools around. So we are in quite an isolated area. We're on the west coast of the South Island, and there's just nothing here. We've got heaps of high schools. If you want to go and study, you have to go to the city, and you're going to have to move all around New Zealand to do whatever. And yeah, part of the Mayor's task force is about getting young people into jobs. So was able to do that, and they've approached me a few times to help out with a couple of things, which has been really, really cool. And then a couple of weeks ago, they approached me about starting to take some courses for the young women. Basically, because all the guys get everything paid for, and they end up in trades and services, so they get all their health and safety gear, they get all their toolboxes and things like that. And when it comes to the girls, they're just like, they end up in admin roles or things like that. And I was like, well, we can help you with like $300 worth of clothes or something, but they're just like, well, that's not really, I don't know. I think they wanted to be able to support them on a deeper level as well. So we sat down and spoke about doing 2 days worth of training, talking about skin and skincare, why it's important, how to eat, why you need to look after yourself, how do you present yourself for a job interview, why, you need to present well for a job interview. And the second day is going over like makeup and getting yourself prepared. And, a lot of the kids at the moment are not ready for work. They, maybe don't understand that presentation is sort of part of going in for the interview as well. So yeah, it's going to be a really cool opportunity, dipping the toes into some training, and we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So we're going to work on creating like a little workbook and go over like your outline for are you doing 2 days? Is it a two day
Yeah,
training?
so it's just going to be 2 days, but each training itself is just going to be 2.5 hours, just so that we don't lose brain power.
Too much attention span. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so good. It's been so beautiful to watch this journey like unfold, because what started off as just skin and beauty, like waxing and eyebrow tinting and massaging, has like just flourished into like so much. Like, and I know that, like, do you want to share a little bit more? I know you've shared little bits and pieces. Is there anything else you want to share with your vision of this business, of what this looks like moving forward for you?
I just feel like there's so much going on that I don't even know what it's going to evolve into. I thought I had an idea, like really into the yoga and all that kind of stuff. I've still got to finish my training, and I would like to incorporate that as part of it, as also as part of the healing stuff for some of my clients. But now I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know it's going to
I
be
love
big.
it. I love that. I love that. See, you're just trusting that whatever is supposed to unfold. And sometimes our logical mind can't even comprehend how amazing life could be, or how amazing your business could be. And like that's evident because, the Jazz that I was talking to back in 2022 was like, survival mode Jazz, and just was like, I just need to get out of my job that's like draining my soul. It's not really where my passion is. Like I love the job, it's okay, but it's not what I want to do long term. To starting your business, to now flourishing into like all of these passions that you actually like, not only are you passionate about, but there's a bigger meaning behind them, like the healing side of things, and really like making an impact. Like this work that you're doing is going to make such a huge impact for the women that have gone through these things that you want to bring into your business. Like that's huge. Like that's really, really beautiful. It's been so beautiful to support you and watch you flourish and go on the roller coaster ride. Like I know what it's like. Like this is why I'm in mentorship, because it is like one day you're like fucking on top of the world. The next day you're like, what the fuck am I doing? This is so fucking hard.
Yeah.
so, so why did I sign up for this? Why am I still choosing to sign up for this every fucking day? So it has been really, really, really beautiful. And you should be so proud of yourself. I'm so proud of you, because I know it hasn't been easy. I know that part of Evolve as well, we've dug up a lot of things. There's been a lot of things that have come to the surface from past trauma and relationship stuff, and like even just motherhood. Yeah, like
Yeah.
dealing with motherhood. I know that's been a really big topic lately, is motherhood in the container, and how hard it is, and the struggles that women don't talk about but wish that we talked about. So yeah, it's just been really, really beautiful to witness and watch you flourish to this beautiful version that you are right now. And I know that your story will have touched so many women that have listened to this. Is there anything that you want to share with any woman that might be listening right now, that might be maybe struggling, that might be questioning where she's at, might be wondering like what she should be doing, what her next steps are? Like, is there anything that you want to share from your heart to her heart to remind her of who she really is right now?
The biggest thing I think is that you just have to have faith in yourself. Like, you can actually do this. And it will be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll
I
always be
love that.
okay.
Yeah. I love that. I love that so much. What has been I know we're still in Evolve. What has been your biggest takeaway from Evolve, would you say, right now?
That a lot of my growth in my business actually has to do with my own healing journey and my own personal growth, and
Mm.
not just me throwing things at the business. Like, yeah, that has
Mm.
been huge. Like, I knew a little bit from like doing Ignite and all that kind of stuff, but the deeper that we get into Evolve, is just, it's really my own personal journey is helping my business to flourish.
Hmm.
Yeah. And it's helping me work out
Amen.
some of my shit. Yeah.
Amen. Mic drop on that, because you have just summed it up perfectly. Like that is exactly what Evolve is. It's you are a reflection of your business, right? So the more willing you are to go deeper into yourself, the wider your capacity is to receive, right? So if you have that depth of yourself, and really figure out who you are and what you want to be, and put those blinkers on, not worry about anybody else, and dig deeper into that, then naturally, like, your capacity is so much wider for you to be able to receive. So you summed that up so beautifully. Anyone that's sitting on the fence about maybe coming into Evolve, what advice would you give to those women?
And it's the best. You just got to do it.
Oh, you're so beautiful. Thank you. Oh, that's so beautiful. Well, I love that. Thank you so much today, Jazz, for coming on and just really pouring your heart out. You shared some vulnerable things that have happened, with past relationships, and that's not always easy to talk about, sharing, the vulnerable parts of your journey, but those vulnerable parts is where we actually get to witness ourselves and see that we're not alone. So I really do appreciate you coming on and sharing the depths of what has gone on in your life, and just keeping it real. Yeah, like keeping it real, no fluff. Like, yeah, sometimes it is fucking hard. And so I think that's been a really beautiful conversation that we've had today. So thank you for pouring your heart out. and I can't wait to see what next unfolds for you. Like it's so good. It's so good. Thank you so much, babe. I really appreciate you jumping on.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
Of course. All right, fam. We will chat to you very soon. If this episode has been very supportive or you've had a huge takeaway, then please come and let me know in the DMs. In the show notes, you will also see there is an application for Evolve. There is also a link to Ignite. If you have any questions about either of them, please let me know. Jaz, where can these beautiful women find you if they want to come and find you? What is your Insta handle? We'll also drop it into the notes as well.
It's at Skin and Body by Jasmine. Reach out anytime.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Talk soon, fam. Bye.